So, the following conversation is between Steve Jobs and Joe Rogan, but the whole thing is generated with AI alone. And it is actually a pretty interesting conversation. I think this is just showing how quickly AI is developing and the potential for AI now to take over podcasting too. Let's hear the whole conversation between Joe Rogan and Steve Jobs. AI mode.
Hello, freak bitches. Welcome to another episode of the Bro Jogan Experience. And on this episode, I welcome my friend who's difficult to describe.
Kill confirmed.
I'm fascinated by him, and I hope you'll be too. And he is weird and brilliant, and sometimes totally insufferable. But my guest today has made some of the great technological products of our age, and he's always like, for example, with his next computer, he developed a new programming language and operating system, and then he became even more famous for 3 applications for that computer. Word processor, a spreadsheet, and an image editor. That just showed me that this dude was brilliant,
The lead is
had
ours.
amazing taste, and I would just hope that I could be even like 1/10 of the genius that my friend today is. And I can't even say his name, so yeah. So super psyched about having him in the house today. First time, or yeah, before, but not for a long time. I feel like
Enemy has the lead.
Demi Moore and Ghost. You're a memory from the past. So without further ado, my friend who is difficult to describe and wonderful, and I'm so grateful he came on the show.
How's it going? Good to see you, buddy. It's been a long time since I've been on the show. I've missed this. It's always fun.
How's it going? Come on, tell me about John.
Hostile UAV in the area.
It's always good to see you, buddy. I'm so happy you came
Tag
on,
secure.
man.
Kill confirmed.
It's great to be on the show. Your audience is just so different from
We've
your
taken
normal
the lead.
Apple users, and that's a good thing. It's cool.
Well, you know, I was an Apple user way before I did the show.
Well, you know, we just kind of found that even though Apple is big, it's still like 0.5% of the total users. People who listen to your show are a different group. They're weird.
Well, that's good. So you must be a fan of the show then, right?
I am. I am a fan. I mean, it's nice to sit back in the car and listen to you rant. I've always liked you.
Well, appreciate that. And we have some weird tie, which hooks into the fact that I was a big fan of Gizmodo, and I still go there all the time.
Confirmed. Enemy KIA.
Well, you know, we always thought it was very funny. We were as surprised to see
Hardline.
that stuff as you guys were to see it on Gizmodo. It's kind of a game to us.
I got you, man. That's cool. So let's talk about some shit, all right?
All right?
So you studied at Reed College. Tell me about your time there. What did you learn? And you dabbled in Eastern mysticism there. Still go back and look at
Confirmed
Hinduism
one.
and Buddhist texts and things?
Not texts and things. I actually took a course in that. I have a very deep belief that the people in the Indian subcontinent are most responsible for human civilization's current state, whether it's math or spirituality or the art of storytelling. Western civilization is based on the art of storytelling. It's a great Indian epic that's 10 times as long as the Iliad and the Odyssey combined. Those things all came from the subcontinent, and they're simply the foundation of what's made our society what it is. I view that stuff as much more important than, you know, philosophy as it is classical. There were 2 things that were really interesting about what was accomplished and what happened on the Indian subcontinent. One of them is the
We've
spiritual
lost the
basis
lead.
for life and the whole acceptance of the spiritual basis for life. Now that may seem simple and obvious. Most people believe in God. That God
Kill
wrote a
confirmed.
book called the Bible or Quran. And that's the end of the story, but my take on it is okay. What does that mean? What I learned at Reed College is that it's not about believing in God or not, or even what the right answer is. It's about asking the right questions. Because most of our reality in our society is rooted in science, which we believe things because they're true. Then it's not a belief. So what is the idea that anything spiritual is true? At Reed, I didn't know what the right answers were, but I knew how to ask good questions. I knew how to push back on things that didn't seem true.
Enemy
And I
UAV
think that's
active.
perhaps one of the key elements in being very innovative and creative.
Do you still believe some of the things that you do? Are you semi-religious or something? Are you a Buddhist?
I get asked that a lot. I think it's impossible to have somebody show you who they are and what they believe in one interview or even over a period of time. I think the best way I can answer that is by telling you. I've told the story before, but it's well documented. I was on a plane flying home with Liz, and we were talking about reincarnation and ESP, and whether there is anything more to this. And as I was thinking about it, lying in my seat, I thought about our children, because I always knew, like, if we had a daughter, for example, I knew that she would really turn out to be, I don't know, sort of weird or very ambitious. That's true of my nephews, but I always thought that she would really be something. And when she was born, I saw her, I was just so happy
We've
that
lost
she was
half
going to
the
be
field.
born.
Fight
And
back.
So I'm thinking about all this stuff, and I said to myself, there must be some purpose or meaning to life. Otherwise, why go on? And suddenly, it hit me. It's not a God in the sense that generally people think of it, but there is some kind of deeper meaning to life. And it can't just be something that somebody made up, because if it was, it wouldn't be compelling. It would seem contrived, and everyone would see through it. So I think that the meaning and the purpose is by the cosmos, the nature of the cosmos, which is pretty bold thinking. I mean, I don't know how to put it, but it's not religious in the way people usually talk about it. Taking LSD was a profound experience for me. LSD shows you that there's another side to the coin, and you can't remember it when it wears off, but you know it tells you that everything is connected. You're not here by accident. You were put here for a purpose, and if you can figure out what that is, then you'll learn more about yourself than anything else could. It's pretty intense. I mean, it's not a light thing. It doesn't make you feel bad. It just reveals you for who and what you are. If you take LSD as that is not as strong, no matter how much more you take. Your brain is doing things on the background conception that it knows this stuff already. So I stopped taking them because they didn't give me anything. I started to realize that I was connected to something, and I wanted to learn more. Although I wouldn't recommend it for everybody because I think it can be quite powerful.
What did it change in your mind?
It reinforced my sense of what was important. Just love, feel love for each other. Awe and respect for life, love and connection to people. That ultimately, some infinitesimally small thing that I am is connected to everything that's happened before. And it's part of everything happening now and always in the future. There is no time window at delivery. It was this incorporated, edibly profound experience. I mean, I didn't read any of those books before taking LSD. I was able to look at things. I was able to look at a computer and see how it was made, look at
enemy UAV active.
Newton,
Tag secure.
product
Kill
of that?
confirmed.
My sense of that is that I was really impressed by this. I mean, back then, it was a struggle. We were working like crazy and dealing with a defeat after defeat after defeat after defeat. But I could tell this was going to be important. There were times when I was wrong because things just kept not working. I remember that in the early days of Apple, when we were making the Apple II and doing a really good job of it, all these companies that were giant then are gone now. And they're gone because there's no proof that Apple is successful. It was doing something right. It had a vision. However fuzzy of where things are going. It's not a design for a product. It's a design for a process that will result in products, the process of innovation. Google has good products, email and Chrome, but the ability to put these things out fast and iterate them every few weeks is hugely important. The search engine is so good and it iterates so fast, it's not a matter of if they're going to be successful, but how long it will take. You see what happened with Yahoo.
Hostile sentry is online.
Never iterated on that product again.
Hostile
That
UAV in
was
the
their
area.
innovation process.
EKIA confirmed.
There's a pattern here. The companies that are most innovative are primarily user interface companies. I don't think any of them are primarily
one.
hardware companies, even though they create a lot of hardware.
Switching mag.
There's a depth to the user interface and an elegance and simplicity. There are companies who get it. You see this across the board. The watch companies that are popping
We're
up,
losing
they
ground.
understand this. It doesn't happen by accident. You have to work at it. It's not something you can sit back and let happen. Most companies is that it's not in their long-term interest to make their products any better. It's just in their short-term interest to make the current quarter earnings report good.
How do you stay on your toes? You've been in the computer industry for 40 years. How do you keep from getting lax?
Because I recognize that we live in a competitive universe and
Kill confirmed.
In terms of things we do, I think we still have the best. Absolutely.
30 seconds
But
left.
you've got to keep on top of it, and you've got to be perfecting it. You don't ever want to let the product stay the same. Otherwise, people say, yeah.
Mission compromised. We're
But
done.
this time will be different. It never is. So there needs to be a drive for perfection. You've got to keep evolving and keep pushing. This is really hard because what you have isn't broken. It just needs to be even better. And people don't pay you money to make it better. They pay only if it's a new product. So when you create something truly great in the world, truly revolutionary, you have a responsibility to push to keep making it even better. It's like when we launched the Macintosh and we had the 1985